Hey everybody, it's Becky from Fish Like a Girl. I want to talk to you today about swim baits and how to rig them, different ways to rig them, things like that. These particular swim baits right here. There's just a couple colors that I have. Are Secret Weapon baits. It's Mike Hoffman out of Weston, Wisconsin. He has a bunch of different colors. If he doesn't have something, he can make something that's going to work for you if you have a color idea or that sort of thing. Obviously, the first thing you can do with a swim bait is throw it on a swim bait hook. This happens to be a VMC hook. There's a whole bunch of different kinds. They have weights in different places, different size weights. I like these particularly because I like the screw lock on them. And what you do with this is you just screw the front end of the bait. Make sure you get it in there as straight as you can. Screw that onto the screw lock and make sure he's right side up. And now you're going to put the hook into the bait, and you're going to want this as straight as possible. So you're going to want the hook to come out, as you can see right here. So I always keep my finger on that spot, as straight as possible up through, and then there's a little channel in these baits right here where your hook goes. And now that's up to you. I always just skin hook it a little bit, just to get it so it's a little more weedless. And there you go. That is your swim bait on a swim bait hook. Another thing that I like to do is throw them on a swim jig, because the big paddle tail gives it a bunch of action, because that's always flapping around in the water as you're pulling it through the water. So I like to do that. This particular swim jig is a Super K jig. That's Greg Kazuski from St. Germain, Wisconsin. So basically all this stuff here is Wisconsin baits. So throwing this on a swim jig, and this is going to depend on, I guess, the mood of the fish, on what you think is right, whatever. To put this on here, for me, this is a little long for this particular swim jig. So I'm going to chop his nose off. Just twist a piece off here. Get rid of that. And then now when I put it on, the bait's going to be about that big. Obviously, you want to match the forage, match what's out there, as far as how big of a bait you're throwing, what colors you're throwing, that sort of thing. So we're just going to thread this guy on here, put it on what looks like upside down, and then bring it through the bait all the way back to where the hook is going to come out. That's going to make the bait straight. Just like that. So there you have a swim jig with your swim bait on it. Now to put these on, I always use a Palomar knot. And I will show you a Palomar knot here. I am using KastKing 50-pound braid in blue, just for demonstration because it shows up well. Now if you want to use, and I will have this on my line, on my reel, during the fishing season, and what I'll do is I'll just use a Sharpie or some sort of black marker and just color it, and the fish can't see it. So, okay, first thing you're going to want to do is double your line over, like this, then put your little loop through the eye of the swim jig, and leave yourself a bunch of tag end. It's better to have too much than not enough. So then you're just going to put your loop over and around, just like you're tying an overhand knot, basically. Then open this loop up, put it around your bait. Once you get to the other side, pull it down a little bit, and you want to wet this because of the friction on it. Pull it down tight, give each side a pull. That should be good. Cut off your tag end, and there you go. That is your swim bait on a swim jig. And of course, you can always throw it weightless. You can just put it on a regular hook. I do have also some, and I do this with flukes as well. I have some lead-free split shot. You can always put a split shot or two or three or whatever you think you need in front of the hook when it's on the, if you're going to try to throw it with just a little bit of weight on it. So those are some different ways that you can do swim jigs. You can also put it on the back of a spinnerbait if you want. You know, like to use them as a spinnerbait trailer. Once again, I would chop them down like I did with this guy here, just to make them a little bit shorter. But swim baits are pretty versatile bait. They're a good search bait. And to me, I prefer throwing something like that over, like either on a swim jig or just the swim bait itself over throwing a crankbait, just because they're a little more weedless. They come through a lot of stuff better. You don't wind up losing a $20 crankbait or something like that. But anyway, so that's Super K Jigs jig right here, and Secret Weapon Baits has a bunch of different colors of these little swim baits. If you don't see on his website, secretweaponbaits.com, if you don't see a color that you want, or you're thinking of a different color, just shoot Mike a call or an email, and he can probably come up with exactly what you're looking for. Thanks.